no Nic Natanui tonight, which is a big out. I like him forward, Natanui, but Cox, he relishes the work. He'll love the fact that he can just try and run Bellchambers and ride her into the ground.
Opportunity in the middle. Bellchambers gets the first hand on ball. Rosa went without it. Pritis, good. This man here has been fantastic. Lonigan, long ball. Cramery up there, couldn't mark, neither could Glass. Ground level ball. Numbers with the West Coast Eagles here early on. Shuey over the top and finds Butler.
Yeah, early. Stanton started in the back 50, Brian, and McGinnity went to him. Looks like they're going to tag Stanton, and that's a good move. You have to keep him quiet.
That's why that man who has taken the first mark is one of the best ruckmen that I've ever seen. His ability to run and spread is elite.
Hearn, long ball inside 50. Good ball it was, off hands. Picked up by Hill. Little hasty with the handball there. Hooker, Stanton under Waters' pressure. Dispossessing. Kerr just a little off with the handball there. Darling went through with the head. Will he be paid a free kick? The umpire said no, and he deliberately led with the head in that passage.
I think it was just the umpire blindsided. That has to be a free kick. Around the shoulder, should have been paid, but the umpire was just caught on the wrong side of the pack, didn't see it.
Bellchambers again.
Over the top, round the back of his neck.
Free kick to Cox.
Got to be careful with the rucks, Tom. You can't go around the back of his neck.
We're looking at the umpire. You've got to be careful, Tom. You can't go around the neck as we take a look, and it just ever so slightly drifted up over the shoulder. It's a pretty soft one, but they have to pay it if they see it in that situation, Richard.
What do you think of that, Dust? Two big ruckmen going at it. Look, there's going to be contact.
Look, my feel for the game would be you just let those sticky touchwood ones go. By the letter of the law, unfortunately, that's a free kick.
Cox with a pretty easy shot, 30 metres out, almost directly in front. Kick on the way, he should convert, he does. Or does he not? No, a little leftish. So Cox missing his first opportunity.
Had a big game last week, Dean Cox. I think he enjoyed having the #1 ruck mantle again. He's been spending a lot of time forward with Nic Natanui, progressing as he has as a player, but the ruck work is all with him last week and again tonight. That matchup with Bellchambers is going to go a long way to the winning this game.
The birthday boy, Fletcher, looks for the middle of the ground. Bellchambers, who's playing with great confidence. There's his partner in crime, Paddy Ryder. Zaharakis, Watson, Dempsey, love the run that he supplies. Stanton on the wing is able to take the mark. Stanton goes long, looking for Monfree's got away there. Is there a free kick against Shepherd? The umpire said no. Quickly down to Doc Larkins on Cramery, Doc.
Yeah,
remarkable comeback.
It was, Brian. Still heavy strapping on the left knee. The big challenge will be him changing direction to his right, putting weight on the left knee. We'll watch him.
We'll watch that with interest, Doc. As Bellchambers doing the ruck work over the back here. An opportunity for Melksham to go in. Chose not to on that occasion. Rosa and Zaharakis wrapped up and stripped by Zaharakis on the left. Long ball to the square. Glass gets back, as he so often does.
Saw that inside 50 from Brent Stanton before. He took the mark in the midfield, and he's had the most uncontested marks in that midfield zone in the whole competition. That's what he does. He provides that link between defence and attack.
McKenzie round the back to the long kicking Hearn. Loves to kick it. Dempsey in front. Did well to stand there, Dempsey. Shuey almost over the boundary. And eventually it does, right near the interchange area. And that brings us to the subs tonight. Ryan Neit's first game up for West Coast is one of the subs.
No surprise, Heath Hocking there has got the tagging role on Daniel Kerr, tracking him very closely.
Travis Collier for the Bombers is the other of the subs. Stanton smothered by Hearn, who's been involved in the game pretty heavily already. Hallett tries to charge his way through some bodies. Only standing room seats left for this game over here. Stadium yet to fill. Some late arrivals. We still believe quite a few at the gates. Here's Stanton, who's trying to con the umpire into believing that he was held. Jeddah has been a really polished performer for Essendon. Did he make an attempt? The umpire let it go. Long time. Davey in and out. Watson in amongst it. Look at the players around this ball in the Bomber forward 50.
Hey, the contest is on right from the start of this game. We're only 4.5 minutes in, but you just see the aggression, the intensity. You're going to have to really work hard to win possession in this game tonight.
Umpire Shane Stewart bouncing the ball along with Gary Fielder and Simon Meredith in this game. Snap around the body has missed from Watson.
Well, we saw that ruck work from Bellchambers to Watson. They're the #1 combination in the competition at the moment. It was Jamar and Maloney last year, but Bell, Chambers and Watson combined more than anyone at the moment.
So a bit of a hushed Etihad Stadium here at the moment. Hearn, another long kick to the advantage of Waters. You almost think that's deliberate. Get under the ball, leave the space to kick over the top. Waters made it work, whatever it was anyway. Kick up there forward, Hill, who's been instrumental in their forward line set up, and more so in the absence of many of their best forwards.
The leading goal kicker, Baptiste.
Watson from Zaharakis, lovely kick. Crameri on the lead. Beautiful jukes out in front. Monfries had a bit of fumble. And now Zaharakis to tidy up. Doesn't want to walk into a trap, so he's steady. Rider down low. Too far out for Paddy, I think.
Right out, please, boys.
Jetta back in the square. You can see the Eagles players getting back in numbers. Now Ryder fancies himself here. In fact, it's Patience and Jake Carlisle, the boy from the Calder Cannons Footy Factory, Marty Allison and Ian Kite, as he lines up for goal about 30 metres out.
Well summed up by Paddy Ryder. It was an opportunity in that first lead up from Crameri to go quick. They had the opportunity one-on-one, and then on a slow play, take your time. They're really patient. That was a great kick. He spotted Carlisle, who cut through. Only a little bit of space, had to be a perfect kick, and it was, Richo.
Yeah, it was a great lead by Carlisle. He led back inside 50, found a little hole, and Ryder was good enough to find him, but it took a really precise kick.
Just his 15th game, Jake Carlisle. Here he is, 30 metres out. Good look at the task there, and just got no fluency at all in the run-up.
Yeah, just had a bent leg approach to that one, Jake.
I reckon the Bombers went man-on-man in that first kick out. We saw the long ball out into space. We take a look more irregular zone.
I think it depends who's kicking in as well, doesn't it? If Hearn gets hold of it, they realise the penetration a little more. Stanton dispossessed, just the one Selwood playing here tonight. Adam out of the side. Dyson, Carlisle again, gets a good honest look from 50. Hoists the high ball forward offline.
Joe Watson already getting some important touches early on this game. He appears to be being given a lot of space. The bloke is such a good ball winner. West Coast don't seem to be sending anyone to him, and that may end up biting them. He's had 5 touches already and has had a shot at goal.
There's Pritis. White gathers with the clean hands. Nice little present up here to Hill. Hill has been in really good touch this year. 15 goals already.
Yeah, he's been a great recruit. We knew he could mark the ball and kick a goal at the Dogs. He's just been more consistent this season.
Gaff long, Darling in the one-on-one. He's got the body position over the back and won't beat the ball back.
Saw Dustin Fletcher. Interesting to see what he does on this kick in. The first one, he went straight down the middle with the big torp again.
This time he's got the loose out wide in Kyle Hardingham, the boy from Cogen up in Western Australia.
I think when it's a slow point and he gets held up, he'll go with the long ones, but if he can play on quickly, he'll go short.
Melksham at half back. Low ball. Crameri again got both hands on it, couldn't hold the mark in the end. Davey got pushed out of the way. Patient on that occasion. The West Coast Eagles rose up. Really wide to Brennan. And that's Jacob Brennan playing in just his second game.
Another match-up in the midfield. Pritis is so important to the Eagles. Howlett's been keeping a pretty close eye on him early.
Selwood again with a clearing kick out of the contest. Game 30 may not go over the line here. In fact, it does. Carlisle working back into defence. So most of the players are within about a 50-metre perimeter here. Michael Hurley, one that's not playing today and will be needed later on in the year, won't he?
I love the balance of Hurley and Cranberry up and running. They get him back, I believe, not too far away, Hurley. It's really a pretty potent key forward set up for the Bombers.
Good to come back to us yet. Now Stanton, Lynch, the umpire said the ball's out. Gee, they give them every opportunity these days. Now, who's got possession of that? The umpire said, I don't know.
Joe Watson, another clearance there from Bell Chambers, and Stanton was warned pretty closely by Butler, but he's already had 3 clearances.
Love it, Murray. Pritis, a lot of Bomber jumpers around this one. Dyson went and got it, even at the expense of Heppel. Don't mind seeing that early in a game from a team knocking over your own man. Sign of their desperation and commitment. Here's Melksham. Look at the kick on the left to Ryder. Ryder now nurses the ball over the top to Crameri. He's being held by Glass, or is it the other way around? It'll go to Crameri.
Stay there, that's it. Here, bud.
Crameri goes long and deep. Jetta, one-on-one down there. couldn't quite get it done in the end. And an opportunity for Brennan, the son of the former Eagle great Michael Brennan, of course. Kerr now, defence at 50, casual with the handball, and the kick is ordinary. Ryder getting a bit of it at the moment. Could go back to Watson. Gee, that player's standing too far, too close, surely. Umpire said it was all right for Lysette because his man was with him. Glass, good mark. Gaff. Left footer goes wide, looking for McKenzie. Brilliant kick from Gaff. McKenzie back inside to Rosa. Just looking to find a hole through this puzzle or maze at the moment. Here's Mitch Brown, who's back into the West Coast lineup.
Yeah, Dustin Fletcher's picking him up. He'll be happy for Brown to take marks that far up the ground. Fletcher will get back inside 50.
Curtis Selwood. Selwood over the top to Marston. Marston on the left and just dropping in front is Hardingham. Had to get rid of it quickly. Heppel kept his feet nicely. Here's Hooker. Around the corner, kept it alive. Did well, Dempsey.
Pretty important for the Bombers tonight with Crameri, their one main focus up forward. They've got to get some deeper ball to Ryder and Bell Chambers when they float through. Ryder's playing a bit further up the ground at the moment, but just got to give Crameri some support for the balance of their side.
Here's Kerr. Didn't get all of it. Hill. Lovett Murray's got to go. Did, but without the ball. Hardingham did really well. Spinning through the traffic. In the end, Howlett. Lovett Murray just got rid of it, and legally in the nick of time. And look at the press from the West Coast. Really working long. That's a magnificent kick. Hit the post in the end. I think it might have been Hearn. And a minor score.
Well, he's the last player that you want sitting free outside of your forward 50. A quick kick comes out. Hearn's on the end of it. You've got to man him up because he's so dangerous from long range.
Horrible kick again from the Bombers. Zaharakis trying to tidy it up to Stanton. Stanton had to go back where it all started. Watson to Hooker. Did well. Hooker brave, backing into it. Had to make a bad kick look good. Carlisle now, half-back, sees Dyson. Left footer, remember. Cox will be aware of that. Checks with the umpire. There's the mark, he says. And now sideways to Fletcher. Just a matter of trying to pick a way through it. Fletcher. Gee, you've got to have nerves of steel. I mean, these kicks look easy to make, but they're not, Richo, are they?
No, they're not. There's a lot of pressure on. The Eagles are so good at forcing you into a turnover. They get a lot of scores from turnovers.
Especially when you've got to kick it over the man on the mark and get a bit of loop in the ball.
They've done well here, the Eagles. They've held the Bombers up beautifully. Just got to be patient.
Zaharakis, you're happy with the Bombers' approach with this sort of play to go steady and easy, Richo?
Well, they made the right choice there to go. If you're going to go long, you go long down the line to a big man, and Bell Chambers presented well.
There's Stanton now, just laying off out the back door. Fletcher can go again, but he's got a bit of move to run, although Lynch closes it down quickly. He thought about Heppel out in the far wing. He said no. Have a look at this. Crameri snuck off the bench. Gains possession. Gets a look to Ryder. A little heavy. Now Monfries battles over the line with help from Shepherd.
They're happy to play that game, though. They take more marks than any other team. The Bombers, on average, each week, they take over 20 marks more than their opposition, so they're happy to do that, working around.
Free kick, it'll go West Coast way here. Cox has got it. Back door to Shuey. Shuey with a lovely kick to Lynch and the present up. Nice grab. Short of the interchange area. West Coast just played the 2 games at this stadium so far this year. Have defeated Richmond and the Dogs here at this ground. There's Darling. Fletcher in the tackle. Ball spills loose, so that's all okay.
Really enjoying the one-on-one nature of the way this game is evolving so far. There isn't loose men back. They've got every footy that is contested. You can just see here players are prepared to go head-to-head with their opponents right across the ground, making it hard to score, BT, because there isn't a lot of space at all in this tight ground at the Etihad Stadium.
No, the only bloke that got free before was Crameri, and he came off the bench, and that time it was Butler. Got an unlucky bounce, but he came off the bench and nearly got an uncontested ball.
Very nearly an interchange infringement there. Glass came off the ground in the not the correct area, had to go back on and do it correctly. as the Bombers go forward with a long ball from Howlett over the back. So Glass, the skipper, knew and was instructed by the interchange steward to go back on the ground and come through the gates correctly.
Did well, young Brennan, and he left his man and attacked the footy and forced it through for a point.
Now, is it deliberate? And the umpire's not going to be converted here tonight, given the home crowd.
Well, I don't think Angus Montfrey's helped his cause by waiting for it to roll over. He could have grabbed it, and therefore it wouldn't have been out of bounds.
Lynch in front. Hamill again. Tough little customer.
Might go down to Cameron Ling. How are you seeing the Daniel Kerr Hocking matchup, Lingy?
Oh, it's going to be a great battle. Kerr's got a few possessions, but not the real damaging ones. I think Hocking's going to stick to his task all night. One thing with Kerr, he's always on the move at stoppages, so always dangerous.
You've got the spy camera on him tonight too, so we're going to have a good look, Lingy, aren't we?
Absolutely. We'll be looking at him at half-time and seeing how he's going and seeing how Hocking is limiting his influence or not.
Shuey over the top, and the Eagles love the opportunity to get out into open field. Here's Selwood. Handball back inside. Once again, the Eagles. Big kick here. McGinnity shot at goal. And the Eagles have got there first, much to the delight of the crowd.
Great running goal from the West Coast Eagles, build up through centre wing, and that is one of their real strengths as a midfield. Ability to push hard, run away from the contest. They're great at winning it in the first possession scenario, but equally as good when they get out and run. Great look at the run and carry the West Coast Eagles. I think their midfield has got slightly more depth. They are really dangerous when they get into that position. They run, link up with the handballs. Great at winning at first possession, but equally as dangerous, hard running on the outside, the Eagles.
So still no goal kick by the Bombers here as Rosa hits the centre break, 17-minute mark. Here's Hooker.
Bombers only had 2 forwards inside their forward 50 on that centre bounce. Everyone else pushed up to the wings and came off the line.
Is this the Eagles they're so good at what they're doing defensively, forcing the Bombers to change their plans?
It feels like that, BT. It feels as though that normal run and carry through the defensive part of the ground, not easy tonight for the Bombers.
There it is for the first time. Zaharakis to Cremery.
Well, that is exactly how they love to play Essendon as well, with their speed off half-back. The forward press West Coast took to a whole new level in the last 18 months, but that is how Essendon will score. If they're good enough to get through, their ability to run and carry, and Cremery is the man tonight for me, Richard. It's got to really have a big one for them to win.
And got through because Lonergan was able to bust the tackle. Here's Cremery, casual approach, and the left to right slider at that end. Still no goal for the Bombers.
He reads the play so well, Cremery. The movement through the middle of the ground there, he had plenty of space, but he still picks up the movement of the ball quicker than his opponent on most occasions. That's why you see him running back inside 50 and taking marks so much.
Thank you.
Shepherd, the back half here for the Eagles. Kicks down the line from our overhead camera. Cox in front, off hands. Marston got one high. A lot of Bomber numbers around the ball there. Marston decides to play on, sneaks an extra 10 or 15. Went out looking for Waters, and Hooker, who's doing quite a good job across half-back.
Yeah, they played on there, Marston, but he had nothing to go to, and he was forced to try and create something on his left foot. Not the way that they'd usually play. They're most effective kicking team in the comp.
Now can they get out? Ryder. In fact, Fletcher over the top to Dempsey. Got on his bike. Didn't get the bounce he'd hoped. Now, will they pay as a result of that? Monfries tries to apply pressure. Picked up in the end by Butler, and West Coast out of trouble. Lynch back inside to Rosa. Rosa's got the run of Prittis, ignores that, looks across the ground, nothing there. Darling's the one-on-one choice, and Hooker again doing him in the one-on-one.
Yeah, Darling got a little bit preoccupied with Hooker then. He just needed to release and jump at the football. He was more worried about his man.
Great tackle by Brennan. Dispossessing, gives Hill a chance. Difficult one as it is. Doesn't try and take it on centering ball, and Hooker's there yet again. Now the Eagles. Waters was hard at the ball, even though he got the bump from Bell-Chambers. Marston around the body, and Fletcher saves the day. Pace is starting to pick up.
The intensity's great, BT. What about Fletcher finding the right spot again just to defend like a goalkeeper.
Now they've got out of the loop really quickly here. The kick has to be great. Hocking brought down, said the umpire, by Kerr.
On the floor.
And look at the Eagles taking time to get the ball back. Hocking on the left. Over the head, no. In the end, the Eagles defenders with Rosa.
Just opened up a little bit now, the last 2 or 3 minutes. It's going end to end.
Full contact.
So an Eagles free kick here, centre wing. And Bo Waters with the short ball to Marston. So both sides being prepared to be a little bit patient, Richo. And as we mentioned, it's the great one-on-one defensive structure we've got all over the ground.
Both teams have had opportunities to get out into space, but they've been closed down so quickly by the opposition. Good discipline for them.
Lynch from half forward. That's a horrible kick.
Thank you. Go on there, stay there, stay there. Play on.
Back inside, risky. Watson made it look good. Now Carlisle. The next kick is the hard one. What have they got over the top? It's all Eagles forward. That's all Carlisle could do. I know you couldn't see the big picture from our shot there, but he had absolutely nothing in front. Monfries was brave there, but had to be. Bombers under enormous pressure here. Howlett has taken the mark. Here they go. Lovett Murray's got Ryder on. Ryder, no, kick won't quite get to him. In the end, Cranmery tied it up. Lovett Murray now to Ryder. Back to Lovett Murray. 60 out, centering ball. Lonigan. This will test his distance ability.
Certainly will. You can see Tom Bellchambers is in the goal square with Dean Cox. That's good to push forward, Das, as a ruckman that you don't like to be exposed down there and have to defend on the goal line.
Yeah, it's a great question to ask of Dean Cox, because that's normally his A-grade plan, making you run hard the other way. Why not see if Dean Cox can defend as a fullback? That's not where he wants to be.
Career game number 70 for Lonigan. From right on 50 or 51. Had to get it absolutely perfect. Just fell short by a metre.
Well, one thing you want to do, if you take your ruckman down there, you don't let him outmark you. That'll be disappointing performance there from Bellchambers. Had to bring it to ground.
Waters over the top. Couldn't get it done. Hardingham. Zaharakis, great hands. Heppel. Stanton. Zaharakis going nowhere at the moment, the Bombers. Good pressure from the Eagles, forcing that turnover.
Bo Waters about to bring the ball back in. 100th game tonight. Taken him 8 years to get there. Great effort. One of the toughest players going around. That's why it's taken him so long. He's copped some injuries.
It's turned out to be a great start to this game, but also looking forward to being back here Monday night, boys. Kilda and Carlton. Monday night footy is going to be something to enjoy.
Darling told to play on by the umpire. Eventually Hooker comes at him, making him kick the ball. Down the line they go. And doing it nicely, Lysette.
Yeah, that'd be disappointing for the Bombers. They held them up well. They had numbers down the line, and to be outmarked there, they wouldn't be happy.
Lysette sends it high. Here's Hill. Advance, couldn't get it. Big punch away. The danger here at the moment is Shepherd. Gathers clean possession on his non-preferred left side. Ryder cutting it off in the field of play, and now Heppel.
This is a challenge for the Bombers. West Coast have been so good in recent years at trapping the ball in their forward half of the ground. You've got to be accurate by foot to get through it.
Out to the pack, no winner there. Hearn at the back, swatting it back in the direction of Prentice. Lovett Murray got him in the tackle, then tried to get the leg underneath to trip him up there. Lucky he didn't succeed here. He would have been pinged for the trip. Interesting tactic from Lovett Murray.
Perfect example of West Coast squeeze there. They put a lot of pressure on. They trap the ball in their forward half of the ground. They want to create stoppages rather than letting Essendon have the free-flowing game.
Almost a wrestling move, that one.
It was.
Murray.
The leg was there ready to go, and I think he realised it, pulled at the last minute. Here's a penetrating run. Watson sets Dyson up the left footer with a handball. Jetta's on the run here. Magnificent football.
That is a brilliant kick. They pulled the trigger at the perfect time, Dyson. If he had a run and taken more space, Jetta was on his arc back, and he just summed it up beautifully. Broke away from the contest, looked up and went, yep, got to kick it now. And he just hit that low, burning footy, Richo, that forwards love.
Gives the defender no chance whatsoever. Nice mark in the end. That had a little bit of heat on it, that kick. But, gee, that's what the Bombers have been good at this year. That transition from your half back line into your forward 50, and there was so much space to work into. They just ran harder away from that competition in the back line.
Hairdo working nicely. Jeddah comes in and nails the goal. Goes up to his opponent and gives him a spray as well. And Jeddah kicks the Bombers' first goal of this contest here, some 24 and a half minutes in.
That's the way to break the press, boys. If you can move the ball fast there, break a line, and then just move it as quick as you possibly can into the forward 50. Best way to break the Eagles' press.
Good point you make, Lee, because I think tonight there's only going to be certain moments where you do get through. The side that takes the most of those opportunities will end up winning the game, because either team at the moment have got their defensive plays working really well. When you can go, have to make the most of it, Richard.
Well, they're actually number 1 and 2 for time in forward half in the competition, so it's going to be in that position a lot tonight, locked in either forward line. It's the team that rebounds the best.
2 seconds before the siren that goal, so there'll be no further score. James Hurd's down on the ground, ready to go. And an entertaining first quarter football. Very heavy on the tactics. West Coast with the press doing so very, very well. And just 2 goals collectively kicked in that first quarter. The Bombers 1-6-12. West Coast 1-3-9. More to come on the other side of the break.
Go head-to-head with the Bombers captain.
Thanks, lads.
Start of the second quarter, Bombers by 3 points. Well, Chambers and Cox go at it. Cox, beautiful control in the ruck. High tackle there against Howlett.
Thank you.
Had to jump up to get him over the neck there.
Pretty hard to get Coxie high.
Yep, and he made it possible. Here's Selwood out wide, Standard pursuing him, and that's almost a free as well. They get away with that one, the Bombers. Howlett over the top now, and Zaharakis at the back. He got a lot of the ball in the first quarter as well. Had 11 touches, Zaharakis.
On the full right here, thank you.
So down the field.
Yeah, that was sloppy. Can't afford to give those away.
Cremery goes wide, and another free kick. Held arms around him.
Arms around him. Put your arm around him.
And Bo Waters said, "Who? Me?" There's Melksham. He'll play on 55 out long ball. Offline. In fact, badly offline. Out of bounds in the full.
I like the intention there from Melksham, and I've seen a fair bit at Ricky Dyson's goal he set up in the first quarter, that when they are forward of centre and on a quick play, they are trying to just get it inside as fast as they possibly can.
Winner in the air there. Ran the ball. Hocking did well with the body. Great handball to Watson. Beautiful control. There's Dyson. Long ball. Ryder.
And that's why you get it in quickly. That was great play by Dyson. He marked the ball. He didn't even hesitate. He played on straight away. He didn't really know what was ahead of him, but he put it in there. Gives Ryder a chance one-on-one. There's no way Waters can come third man in.
Run around, play on, right foot, Bender. Got it. Ryder.
Yeah, long ball to Ryder deep is a good play. I think for their structure, if he is your stay-at-home forward, gives Cremery just a little bit of relief. He can do his work up and back around 30 metres out from goal. And good contested mark from Paddy Ryder.
Paddy Ryder getting the job done. Look at the fans in the background. The joy on their face, fantastic. Bombers by 9 early in the second quarter.
Back in the centre, I like the fact that Ryder's now starting deep, BT. I think that just gives Cremery a lot more space, and a get-out kick for the Bombers is a good thing.
Here go the Eagles. Cox will get on the end of this. Thought about Rosa wide, thought, no, I'll bring it back in. Well, sometimes he'd give that ball out wide. The big man took it upon himself to find the kick. And I know he is a very, very good quick kick for a big man. Puts the hand up and apologises to his teammates.
Lots of one-on-one matchups there on the aerial view. There aren't any loose men back at this stage.
Look at the flick from Cox to Kerr, who was savaged in the end by Hocking and Watson.
Lots been made of the injuries to the Bombers, but in the pre-show we spoke, of course, to Josh Kennedy, who is out of the Eagles side, one of their best players and a key forward. They've got their own injury concerns, the West Coast Eagles.
They have indeed. Most of their forward liners out. I mean, Jack Darling really, and Lynch is having to go back there and plug a hole. Have a look at the tap here from Cox. How good's that?
Yeah, that's great work. Daniel Kerr, how many times have you seen that? Getting the ball on the run around a clearance. One of the best in the last 10 years at doing that, Daniel Kerr.
And Cox, a 5-time All-Australian, which can have the depth, the skill ability of the ruckman we just saw, but what makes him so dangerous? He is an unbelievable runner. Picks up an enormous amount of possession.
I love the way Watson takes the kicks that he knows he can make, playing within his capabilities. Here is Dempsey at centre-half back. Precision kicking last week it was from the Bombers, and it'll need to be to get through this press. Howlett, look at this. How does a man stand there by himself in Crameri?
That's the one, BT. As soon as they broke that line, they went straight at the goals as fast as they can, and that's how you catch the press out.
A high risk, high reward, isn't it, Lee? The kick there that we just see on replay came into the corridor. If that gets turned over, I think West Coast scored the other end. Good contest by the ruckman. He did really well, Bill James. He smashed into Kerr, and that's why Crameri's having a shot.
For his first goal of the night, not a difficult one, 25 metres out, just that 2 or 3 step run up, which I don't like. Doesn't give him the chance to balance up.
Jeez, that looks horrible, that style at the moment. I've seen him with a bit more fluency and kick through it, but he's almost kicking a 9-9, leaning back and getting underneath the footy. He's got all sorts of troubles tonight.
Had that game against Carlton where he ended up kicking 5 goals, but at one point in that match he was 1 goal 5.
Doc Larkins.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about that knee on Crameri, Brian. He can't kick through and extend it, and that might be limiting his confidence kicking.
Very good point, Doc. Something we hadn't thought of. Very good point indeed.
Well, that'll make sense, BT, as we watch another hard-fought contest. The Bombers are going to get it and go inside 50.
Here's Lovett Murray, hoists the high ball. Ryder's the target. Melksham's there as well. Ryder. Umpire says play on, no interference. Lonergan got in underneath it, gives it off to Davey. This is where they're good. Fast hands. Zaharakis goes wide. Wants to get a look at it. Dempsey couldn't quite get enough of it on the boot. They crack in. Crameri the bull down there. Waters got him in the tackle. Fantastic play.
Well, there's a man that Doc Larkins just talking about, Stewie Crameri, who had his knee wrenched last week. Big effort to play. He doesn't seem comfortable, as the Doc pointed out, on his follow-through, his kicking action.
So the strapping on the knee there. Here's Zaharakis. So the Bombers just owning a little bit of time with the ball here in their forward end.
They're owning the whole quarter at the moment, BT. The Eagles can't get their hands on the footy. 23 touches to 7. Just need to try and get possession and slow it down for a couple of minutes.
Cox forward to Pritis. Gaff. Davey had hold of him when he probably didn't have it. Stanton happy for the boundary line there.
They're 9 marks to 1. Essendon's way. Total control of the first 5 minutes.
Kerr has a spell. Doctor asked him how he's feeling. Look at Cox. Push off with one hand. Palm down to Shoe with the other. It was absolutely magnificent stuff. You can see the crowd starting to build, and I said they were coming in late, and I tell you what, just about every seat filled here now. A massive crowd. High 40,000s, I would have thought. Packed all 3 levels here. Cox with a big thump away from the action zone. Got it in the direction of McGinnity, who was the first goal kicker and only goal kicker for West Coast.
It's funny how the game works. If you looked at the stat sheet, 5 clearances to 0 to the West Coast Eagles, but as soon as they release it from that clearance, they just cannot hold on to it.
Zaharakis, high ball. Dyson won't be paid the mark, not the required journey. Rosa and Pritis were hard at it. That's a high tackle. No duck there. Simply didn't make the right tackle. And now West Coast get a rare opportunity in this second quarter to go forward. McGinnity's got hold of it. Umpire lets him go now. High ball by McGinnity. Jack Darling comes in front. Was Lynch, got both hands on it. Marston to Hill. Hill sells the foot candy. A little right foot banana bender. Out of bounds on the full. And definitely no duck there. That is a stand up, and you must tackle correctly. Dempsey, I don't know what all that fuss was about. My game, football's about being evasive. If you can evade tackles by ducking, bending, going sideways, then you've got to be tackled correctly.
And if you can shrug a tackle off, I reckon that means that you haven't stuck the tackle properly. It's the tackler's fault. So
some of the best players in our games are the best evasive players. Here's Crameri. Goes long this time with the kick. Bell Chambers couldn't get it done. Cox, excellent aerial work.
Well, BT, we threw that question out on Twitter a little earlier. 57% of responses want the AFL to crack down on the Eagles ducking and drawing free kicks. That's the trend at the moment.
That's a Victorian anti-West Australian thing, I reckon, does.
It started last week, and if you look at those tackles in the North game, most of them were well umpired, I thought.
Yeah, I didn't think there was a problem there at all. Das, you got your opinion? Here's Watson.
Yeah, I think ducking the head has always been a rule in footy. You don't earn a free kick if that's the case. The evolution of that is just dropping at the knees. I think you just call play on. If you draw the contact, I'd prefer to see that played on more.
Never seen a rule in the book that says you can't duck the head. Here's Shuey. Have seen rules that say you must tackle correctly. Hill on half forward. Handball over the top to Hearn. Can he get around Lovett Murray? Does. The big man Lynch. He can load up from here. No momentum. Goes to the square. Darling at the back. 3 Bombers. Hardingham. The boy from Kojana. Got a dad named too. Who's the bus builder?
What a ripping grab that was from Kyle Hardingham. Had just nothing but eyes for the footy. Took a beauty in the defensive. Here's 50.
Within 5 metres.
Within the 5 metre zone, Das.
Pleading his case, Daniel Kerr. John Worsfold's composed, but he won't be enjoying that.
Hardingham's got one of the best leaps in the game, hasn't he? That was a terrific mark. He's been one of the reasons they've improved the Bombers. He's been great down back this year.
Short ball here to Lonergan. Lonergan goes long to the square. Bell Chambers the target. Stood tall, couldn't get on the end of it, and in the end it'll go over the line. Let's get down to Doc Larkins.
Yeah, Matty Prittis has been off the ground on the bench for a little while. Brian just getting up again. Look, he certainly got a very heavy knock to the head. He's just going down the race. We see him on the monitor there. I reckon he's quite dazed, and they're going to do a proper concussion assessment on him. He's been no good the last 4 minutes.
Is that a written test or a verbal test, Doc?
It'll be a verbal and it'll be some physical tests, Brian.
Okay, here's Melksham. Went in and under. Now, there's a case of went low, went for the ball, got tackled high, didn't duck. He actually got the ball.
Went lower and harder, and he deserves the free kick if you put your head over it.
Melksham, high ball to the square. The big boys line up. A lot of pushing and shoving. Bell Chambers the one clawing it, and now Butler to clear.
BT, I've seen players fail the concussion test in the pre-season when they aren't concussed.
Which sort of question. Put black and white together, what do you get?
There's a few simpletons around there, Brian, who
Go through, mate, go through.
aren't capable of just answering the basic ones, but Matty Prittis will be fine, I think.
So we'll have a boundary throw in here as a result of this. About 55 metres out from the bomber. Lloyd end goals. Lloydie very happy with the end being named after himself too, I might add. He's very, very chuffed about that.
Yeah,
Richo, you're not so chuffed. You never got an end named after you at the G, which is disappointing.
Lloydie deserves it. Kicked, I think he was the highest goal kicker here at Etihad. I think Stevie Milne's overtaken him now. He wouldn't be happy with that, Lloydie.
No, he wouldn't. He likes his records, Lloydie. Melksham out of the battle there. Goes out towards Hill and Hardingham. Gotta love the tenacity of Hardingham. Long ball. Won't get back, though. Mark in the end taken by Brennan.
Probably one of the great moves the Essendon coach James Hird. Kyle Hardingham was a forward, recruited that way. He's put him into defence, and he looked perfectly suited for it. Cranberry, the reverse, was playing defence, and he looks tailor-made to be a forward. So they've had a couple of big wins there.
Hocking. Now Heppel. Good tackle, Darling. Zaharakis advancing the ball. Davey, the little man, loves to run the ball. Elwyn Davey, 60 out, centering ball. Cranberry got good body position. Hearn did really well. Glass over the top, smacked in. Melksham cocked one high, a bit of a delayed reaction.
He's a hard nut, this boy, Jake Melksham. There'll be no faking or milking in this. I think he got a genuine punch in the head. Let's have a look again.
Or a poke in the eye.
Might be a finger in the eye, yeah.
Little finger in the eye, I reckon, for Jakey Melksham there.
That would hurt. I saw Jay Schultz from Port Adelaide got scratched.
Here we go. There it is.
Eye like that a few weeks ago, and he's still missing.
Yep.
That is a horrible feeling. Jay Schultz on the back of his said he thought his eyeball had come out of the socket, and it just, you can't see, your vision's blurred, and the
didn't he actually say, have I got an eye? Is the eyeball there?
That was his initial feeling.
Thought he'd lost an eyeball.
There's Melksham. Tough
be a
young
great
kid.
feeling.
Another one out of the Calder Cannons here, Jakey Melksham. 40 metres out, 45 directly in front. He's a good kick, and that is fantastic. Step to the line and gold it for the Bombers.
He's ripping this man on screen, Jack Melch. You can see him saying to the trainers, don't worry, just give me an eye patch. I'll play on. Hard unit.
That's...
Give me time if you need it, so.
Dr. Peter Larkins.
Yeah, Melksham doesn't look too bad. The doctor has checked him quickly, Brian. He's looking a lot better than some of the bad ones where you do get the scratch cornea, just like the Schultz one that Darcy and Richo mentioned. Pritter's still down having the concussion test off the ground.
Look in the middle, right to Watson. Look at the work, the link-up play. Lonigan bangs it forward. Cramery there, got a hand over the back. Here's Brennan. Little left foot, a high ball. West Coast still clear here. Butler.
Need a goal. It's starting to get away from them this quarter. The Eagles 70% in Essendon's forward half. They've got them locked right in. They need a goal.
Their only goal coming at the 16-minute mark of the first quarter. Now Kerr tangled with an Essendon player in the middle of the ground. I think it's Lonigan, and he's flat on his face. Just gets back to his feet now. Long ball in Fletcher. Knocked down to Dempsey.
Brilliant effort from Dustin Fletcher back there. Just body position. And so much experience and understanding of where to be.
There goes Hooker through some traffic. Hocking had to be swift. Put his teammate under pressure. Zaharakis did well. Hocking allows him to run for the ball. Here they go, the Bombers. Monfries to Zaharakis. Little ball. Stanton has taken the mark directly in front.
Well, they split them open on that occasion. The West Coast defence was all at sea. And you could see options. He had one long, he had one short. Summed it up beautifully. And has found Stanton, who is just playing great footy at the moment. Hard run as Kerr collides there with Lonigan.
Stanton steps to the plate, and he too joins the goal fest. 4 in a row for the Bombers.
Great gut-running performance for Brent Stanton. Having an unbelievable season. Averaging the most kicks in the AFL, and it's all at the back of just hard running.
Come straight back.
Well, this is what the Bombers have done so well this year. A loose ball at half-back. They just run harder and spread harder. Once they get out into space, they're very, very hard to stop, and Stanton gets on the end of it inside forward 50.
Lonigan again doing a lot of damage inside the centre square at the moment. Great mark taken by Melksham. He plays on, gets it out to the fast Jeddah. Jeddah's going to take Glass on. What can he do, Glass? Tap out in front. Well done, Glass. Excellent job. Under enormous pressure, but the kick around the corner goes straight to Stanton.
All 3 goals this quarter the Bombers have scored have been from turnovers. This will make it 4. They're feeling the pressure, West Coast. That was a panic kick. Not a lot of composure there. And Stanton very capable of kicking this.
That's what happens when the play's in your forward half for 70% of the time. The pressure builds and builds, and you start making mistakes.
Maybe just a little bit of left to right at the end in this kick. It's a wobbler. Horrible in the end. Did not spin correctly. And a minor score. Now we see Pritter, Stock, Larkins re-emerging from down there. What do you think?
Well, Brian, they will have done a series of tests. They're testing his orientation and memory and balance and things, Brian. He's still sitting on the bench. I'm just going to watch him a couple of minutes. They certainly haven't subbed him. The sub has been warming up.
Zaharakis, 7 touches already in this quarter now. The leading possession getter in the game, Watson, Bell-Chambers. Gee, Bell-Chambers surely knew Watson was under pressure. Umpire said he was tackled high.
Coming up for disposal, number 19, Joe Watson. He's smashing them. 9 contested possessions. They've got to do something about that man.
That's on the back of 36 last week, Das. Here's Dyson. Long left foot ball. Deep into attack. Jeddah takes his man underneath. Yes, their midfield last week. Stanton 39, Watson 36, Heppel 34, and Zaharakis 30.
Dean Cox is the leading possession gatherer for the West Coast with 7. And so many more, in fact 9 for Cox, but they just aren't winning enough of the footy at the moment, West Coast.
We see the sub, Ryan Neitz warming up, Melksham around the corner. What do you think, Lingy? Neitz looking like he's going to get into the action or not?
No, I think he's looking pretty comfortable there at the moment, B2. They'll make a decision soon on it. Darcy's spot on. It's Essendon's ability to strangle West Coast at the moment, the amount of ball they're having, they're just dominating West Coast. Cox is the highest possession winner with 9, whereas Jobe Watson just having too much space. They're allowing him to play. He's had 19 touches already.
Kick comes in McGinnity here. Takes a safe mark on the chest. In fact, he dropped it.
Thank you, right there.
Umpire may have blown the whistle prematurely there. Just backwards ever so slightly. Opportunity here with McKenzie. Short ball to Glass. So just not prepared to go yet, the West Coast Eagles.
They've just been locked in here for the whole of this quarter. It's a great example of why Essendon this year are #1 for time in their forward half. They've got their press working beautifully, BT.
But other times in forward half or in possession, Rich, I don't know whether you can see that from where you are.
Well, this quarter, it's 72% in the Bombers' forward half.
Gee.
They just can't get out, the Eagles.
Absolutely owned it, haven't they? Long ball forward here. Good grab taken by Hill. Now they've got a one-on-one deep if Hill wants to go. He ignores that handball over the top to Kerr. From 45 metres out, magnificent kick by Kerr against the flow.
Yeah, it took something special. Hard run from Daniel Kerr and a Josh Hill contested mark was good enough to set that one up. It was the only time they've been able to break free, as Matthew Richardson was just discussing. Yeah, they really needed it, starting to get away from the West Coast.
Essendon have been able to limit the influence of West Coast running plays, but look at this work rate from Daniel Kerr. Just his ability to break away from Hocking, get to the next contest, and then the class to finish it off with a goal.
17-point margin. Poor bounce by the umpire has been recalled.
It was a great shot, that BT, wasn't it? That Lingy has got the camera just solely on Daniel Kerr. And he got an understanding of why he has been one of the better players. It was just hard running. Hocking couldn't go with him, and then to finish at that stage was great.
That was a double-handed basketball pass by Bell Chambers. The umpire missed it. Stanton, Dempsey and Lessar was seeing things around the back. Zaharakis. Chip over the top was meant for Bell Chambers. Rosa and Cox combine at half-back. They reload and go again. Gee, Dyson did well to work Kerr under the ball there. Paddles to the safety of the boundary line and found it. And let's go down to Doc on Pritis. What do you think, Doc?
Well, I reckon they must know, Brian. He's either concussed or he's not. It doesn't take this long to make the decision. They're holding off. They've taken him down to do some drills with the ball back down there, but he doesn't look well.
Hocking. Upended by Selwood. Howlett. Bell Chambers, fast hands for the release. Lovett Murray. Dempsey around 1, 2, 3. Left foot around the corner was good to Melksham. 55 metres out. He's got Monfries running towards goal. Cramery's over the back. Holds the mark.
Well, that is just great play by Essendon. By Waters there, he was actually loose behind the football, but that running of Dempsey here, this is what split it open. He was able to get around. Waters had to commit up, and that allowed Cramery to get out the back, and a good kick from Melksham.
Just a couple of steps again for Cramery, and he comes. This time he kicks the goal, and the Bombers out by 23 points. So Cramery getting his first of the night here, some 21 minutes into the second quarter, and now the Bombers by the biggest margin of the night, 23 points. It was swift movement of the ball getting it forward, and Cramery and Monfries both in good positions. Kick at goal, and the fan up there in the second deck says, oh boy, mate, you just got to play within your limitations and do not go over the edge.
Been a disaster.
What about the bloke in front of him? Didn't spill one drop of his beer.
That could have been really ordinary. Here is Zaharakis coming out of the middle. Kicks a long ball forward. The Bombers by 23 points in a game high margin at the moment. Beau Waters holds them up.
BT, you talk about their swift ball movement. The Bombers, they had a loose man back, Waters, but they moved it that quickly, but he just became non-effective as a loose man. They went around him.
Ball Spilt loose in the tackle there. Howlett. Out the back door. Cox. Left foot around the corner. High ball on the head of Hill. In the end, Darling takes the mark. Doc Larkins.
Yeah, West Coast are going to make the sub, Brian. So I think Pritis has gone for the night, and they're about to bring Ryan Neitz into the game.
So young Ryan Neitz, boy from Claremont, 169 centimetres, the smallest player currently in the AFL. Number 5 draft pick back in 2010. Here's Marston, hammers the ball long to the advantage of the Eagles. Could not get it in front. Stanton spun out of the tackle brilliantly. He and Hooker combine. The kick magnificent to Monfries. Here comes Melksham on the bike. Kick a little high-ish. And a free kick in the end against Glass, and just wanting to go on with it. Glassy as well, rubbed his nose in it. You got to admire him. Tough man to play on, Richo.
Yeah, he was a nightmare to play on, Darren Glass. He had an ability just to tangle you up and wrestle you to the ground and get away with it beautifully. I think he had some sort of black belt in something, but he used it pretty well.
Probably karate, Richo.
Oh, well, what? There's only one type of martial art, B2, isn't there?
That's the only one I know. Zararakis, handball off. Watson, steadying shot. Well measured, cut off in the end. I don't know, might be judo or something. Or jiu-jitsu.
I think that's it. I think he was the judo master or something, but he used it well.
He's your man getting ready to come on, BT.
Ryan Neitz, the young man from Claremont, the smallest player currently in the AFL at 169 centimetres. Gets a look of it because one of their main men, Pritis, will take no further part, Das. Out the back door, Shuey on the half-back line. Josh Hill in front. Been really impressed with his lift and intensity since he crossed from the Dogs.
Well, it's been a great aerialist, BT. Sometimes just his defensive efforts haven't been up to standard. I think that's probably why his consistency levels, but they've been able to tweak that. He's really doing it both ways at the moment, that man on screen.
I think he's leading defensive acts or tackles inside forward 50 for the Eagles as well, so he would never have done that at the Dogs, would he?
No, absolutely not. Certainly not on a consistent basis. Anyway, he's really fitted in, and given their injuries in the forward half of the ground, he's become a really important player, Josh Hill.
Cox to Lynch.
Stay clear.
Leads Fletcher to the ball. Lynch from 70 metres, the low ball. In comes Darling, off hands. Heppel's there, Marston as well. And that ball ain't coming out.
Well, they're starting to miss some of their gun forwards, the Eagles. Not a mark inside 50 tonight. Essendon have taken 10. The weight of numbers is just starting to go against them there. You can't afford to lose as many forwards as they have and still be effective inside 50.
All of a sudden, a guy like Darling gets the number 1 defender instead of the number 3 or 4.
And that's the whole thing. It makes a big difference. Instead of Darling playing on the 3rd, he's got to play on the best now, and it makes it tougher for him.
Waters has a ping at him and misses to the right-hand side.
Let's go through. We take the Kra out, who's one of the hardest matchups in the AFL. Josh Kennedy has the capacity, I think, to be one of the best key forwards in the game. Koski is an absolute gun. Yeah. It's a massive chunk out of your side to try and replace.
And Embley, who occasionally goes forward as well.
And Kennedy would get that number 1 defender every week. LeCras, if he was playing, would probably get the number 2. Darling would get 3. It just throws the whole mix out of whack.
Also, Natanui's been very handy up forward, who's not playing tonight. So they've got some challenges here, the Eagles.
Nice mark from Brennan.
Moving on, play on!
His father very capable as well, Michael Brennan. Played for the Eagles during those halcyon days.
It also forces Lynch to play inside 50 a little bit more, and he's been that man that hits up with the wings and creates the hit-up target, so that changes his role. So some challenges there.
Selwood from 50, fancy his chances, got it to the spot. In the end, over the top, Darling's taken an absolute ripper, but has he hurt himself in the meantime? Now he'll go on the most severe of angles here. But Darling will be good enough to take his kick. And the umpire now takes him right around.
Well, we whipped him into action. That's the first mark inside 50.
How close is Stanton? That's the question. Darling saying, come on, Stanton's got to give me a bit more up. He wants to run around on the left. Does he go the right foot banana or the left foot kick? He's chosen the left foot kick. And I think he may have got the goal. So well done. So Darling really thinking his way through that opportunity. converts the goal in some sort of discomfort too, I might add. And the Eagles now back within 17. So 28-minute mark here of this second quarter. And down by 17 points are the West Coast Eagles.
Only playing his 30th game of AFL football, Jack Darling. It feels as though he's been around a bit more experience. Only 191 centimetres, but a great option as a forward. We know he's getting a lot more attention with some of his more senior teammates out, but that was a big mark at a big time.
Tweet here from Mick As 9 says the Eagles look slow tonight, not using the ball when they have it. Says one on Twitter. You can join in anytime you wish as the scrap goes on for the ball in the middle.
The real trouble with that, BT, is they haven't got the ball. So there's no worries about being slow when they have it. They just don't have it. 56 possessions between Zaharakis, Watson and Stanton, their three key midfielders. That's huge numbers for Essendon. And West Coast with Prudis off now, they lose that real ball-winning ability in the middle of the ground.
Cox to Kerr, Stanton out of the middle. Got it inside 50. Eagles starting to just win a little bit more ball here now. Here's Shuey. Did well at the ground. Clever tap on from Glass to Brennan. In fact, it was Shepherd. Shepherd to Gaff.
Good to see Gaff and Shuey involved in this passage of play. They're the guys that are going to have to lift now with Prudis off the ground. They're young midfielders. Got to take a little bit more responsibility in this second half.
Hallett through the traffic, just messes his kick sideways to Monfries.
Marston also only the 6, so there's plenty of room for them to improve. Whether they're going to be able to do it tonight.
Ball kicked by Dempsey. Now Carlisle pressured by Darling. Two athletic guys playing on each other there. A free kick too high, said the umpire.
His hands over the footy.
And the little man, Neats, with his first touch in footy. Has the ball. He's got Hearn short if he wants to use him. And the half-time siren sounds, and I'm not sure he got his kick away before half-time, so I still don't think he's had a touch, the young man Neats. And at half-time, the Bombers by 17 points, Darce.
The champion data boys have any sense of spirit, they'll give him that possession. Young Neats, his first kick in AFL football. Hey, well done to Essendon. They got on top, as we've pointed out, their midfield players, Zaharakis, Watson, Stanton. Total domination. The challenge goes back to the Eagles. They've got to find that run and spread from the contest that has made them undefeated in 2012. The gauntlet throw down to the #1 side. They've got a fair bit of work ahead in the second half.
Oh, yeah, the Bombers by 17 here at half-time. Do not go away. We've got a ripping game and another half to come on the other side of the break.
About 6-7 minutes into that last quarter, the second quarter, when his head hit the ground in a tackle, he was stunned for a while, ran around, came off, obviously disorientated, was subbed out with concussion, gone for the night. Brian.
And Cremery, do you think he's going to get through the game, Doc?
I think he'll get through the game, but I don't think he's playing 100%, Brian.
No. Here's Hooker, and he certainly looks limited.
Just see that there, that high ball that went inside 50. Mitch Brown was just preoccupied with Dustin Fletcher. He has to compete and bring that to ground level. Kerr did the good work at the clearance. It's just come straight back out of 50 far too easily.
Well, Chambers to Watson. Watson on the wing. City side of this Etihad Stadium. Magnificent kick into Heppel. The give to Zaharakis. Monfries had difficulty getting it on the boot. Here comes the big boy Ryder over the back with a magnificent contested mark.
That was a brilliant effort from Ryder. The set-up kick from Watson to find Heppel, who pushed forward, was equally as good, but the use of the body, have a look at that kick there, had to punch it low. Heppel had pushed forward. This one was jammed on the boot. Look at the way Ryder used his body in air to just take mid-air, to take the defender out the way and clunk it one grab Richard.
You thought he was out of position, Darce, but he worked it beautifully.
To become the only multiple goal kicker of the game, Paddy Ryder from 20 metres out directly in front, hammers it home. And all of a sudden, a 23-point Bomber lead. So Ryder gets the first goal here of the second half, and the Bombers once again out by that margin of 23 points in a low-scoring affair. Certainly not insurmountable here, that is for sure, but the Eagles need to get cracking. Sensational grab from Paddy Ryder there.
Well, this is a great kick by Jobe Watson. See how he punched it low and hard, and he had to. If he didn't kick it as hard as he did, it wouldn't have got to Heppel, would have been intercepted. Heppel handball receive, it opens it up for your forward line.
The quick release handballs, there were 2 or 3 of them there that released the pressure off their backs. Magnificent. Ball goes forward. Hardingham dropped the mark he probably should have taken in the end, and Selwood gets wrapped up in the Howlett tackle.
Das, we see Scotty Selwood getting wrapped up there. Hasn't had a great half, as you mentioned, in the first half. Would you send him back to his old role and send him to a Joe Watson or Zaharakis and just play a shutdown?
Yeah, I think so, Lingy. They're out of control. Zaharakis, Watson and Stanton all getting too much of the footy. That's what he does best. Time to go back and at least shut down one of the midfielders who's out of control for Essendon.
Davey to Stanton. Stanton to Crameri. Crameri and Glass in a foot race here. The supporting role in the end at the back from McKenzie. Did well. Ryder wrapped him up. He just got the handball away. Well done, Glass. But now Butler's under Davey pressure. Forced the turnover. Handball to Lovett Murray into the open goal. That sums up the Bombers. Their pressure was fantastic. Lovett Murray kicks the goal to finish off the great work of the forward pressuring Bombers. Absolutely outstanding harassment of some key defenders for the West Coast, who normally are very, very poised in difficult situations like that. Have a look at this. The turnover. Glass, you think's done the right thing, puts Butler under pressure. The turnover complete. Crameri under enormous pressure, and the overlap running from Lovett Murray. Superb.
Modern footy, BT. Tackles inside your forward 50.
And the Bombers go forward yet again. A 29-point margin here now. The Bombers, the biggest of the game. Here's Davey. Look at him getting on the bike. Little low ball. Got it into Paddy. And I don't think he made contact with that. Probably should have been incorrect disposal. And attempt's not good enough. Little kick around the corner. Hill got a hand on it. And the West Coast have got to reload and go from here. Davey comes off for a spell after a dazzling couple of minutes from him. Cox got rid of Bell-Chambers on that occasion. Hovered over the top of it, Hocking. No one wants to pull it under because they don't want to be the first there. They want to be the second there to be the beneficiary of the free kick.
Bombers have scored 5 goals, 5 from West Coast turnovers in this game, and it's just contagious. The amount of pressure they're putting on, really wanting to get in and get involved. Every player on the ground for Essendon.
Melksham down to Crameri. He and Glass both strong. McGinnity, Shepherd, caught. Did he handball or kick it? The umpire said no, you threw it. And that should be 50 as well. It will be. So it's gone from a 50-50 goal opportunity to now a certain goal.
It's just a ferocious desire and attack on the ball, the man, the player wanting to get involved. Well played, Essendon.
Crameri kicks the goal. You make a good point, Darcy. Ferocious appetite to win the ball, and it seems to be almost growing here tonight in this game. The belief in themselves is all of a sudden starting to become real.
And at the same time, you're looking around the West Coast players. Their body language isn't great. They're going back into their shell. Big challenge for them now.
Well, here's the free kick. You can see Gaff, quick little handball. There's the play on as the result. And in the end, a goal. Back in the middle. Howlett. Down to Melksham. Tries to turn him around. Here comes Davey again. He only had a 30-second spell, and he's got met high here by Waters. He's disgusted with himself.
Go down, go down.
Well, they're undefeated, West Coast, in 2012. Right now, they're under siege. They're getting just pressured into mistakes. They're making dumb decisions there. Bo Waters gave away a really clumsy free kick. The body language isn't great all of a sudden, Rich. I'm looking around at the West Coast players, and they've gone back into their shell. There's no one really standing up their chest out. It's a big challenge for them right now.
Got him high, but boy, he went down just a little too easy. I mean, the free kick's definitely there. I'm not saying it's not, but Davey comes in and drills it. What about that? 4 in 6 minutes. fans are ecstatic. Bombers out of the box in the third quarter have banged this one wide open with 4 consecutive goals inside 6 minutes, basically, and now lead it by a whopping 41 points.
Well, he's pumped Owen Davey. Nice finish from the free kick. Well, they just can't get their hands on the footy, the West Coast Eagles. It's as simple as that. It's been all the Bombers in this first 3.5 minutes. 20 possessions, 4 goals. They just wanted a lot more at the moment. The Eagles are a little bit shell-shocked.
I think it might have been Dempsey infringing off the back of the square at centre-half back. Cox goes really wide to Selwood. Got a difficult bouncing ball. Gave Monfries some time. Look at that for a tackle from Lonigan with intent. Marston, McGinnity tries to thread the needle and Bell Chambers got in the pocket.
What a shocking bounce there, Scott Selwood running away from centre wing. But that's one of the few times I've seen a West Coast player just gut running hard and trying to create space. They really just haven't worked hard enough in this game. They lost Prittis, we know, with the substitute rule, who's one of their great hard runners. But the rest haven't picked up the slack.
Lovett Murray down the line to Ryder. Turns Glass around with ease in the end. Kerr couldn't get to him. The kick is risky to Zaharakis just by a fingertip. Have a look at this. Monfries in the hole. It wasn't a great kick by Zaharakis. Monfries was on the fly. Shook off the tackle. Handball back to Ryder. Ryder around the corner. Here's Cramery again. For 5 consecutive goals. He's got a little left to right slider.
Get a good look at his knee and how comfortable he is with kicking through the footy, because he hasn't really kicked well and accurate when he's had any distance in the set shot. So this will be within his range. Can he follow through?
Yeah, it certainly will. This is just a great story, Cramery, developing this year. He was good last year, but he's just come on a heap more again this season.
Great shot of that medial strapping. In he comes and he hoists the ball without any problems whatsoever. The goal umpire has a good look. It almost hit him in the noggin. And he kicks the goal. Cramery kicks his 3rd goal of the game, 2nd goal of the quarter, and the Bombers by 47. Essendon with the last 5 inside 50s and the last 4 clearances to go with it. Right on top here. What have the Eagles got?
Love this by Paddy Ryder. Just a direct kick to one-on-one contest. Stuart Cramery, he's up and about at the moment. Get it into them on one-on-one. Don't let them get a number back and they'll win the footy.
Back in the middle, Bell Chambers up high, isn't he? Playing with confidence. Here's Watson. Goes inside 50. Ryder's in front again.
What about the captain there, who has kicked the footy tonight like you wouldn't believe? Absolutely criticised for the first half of his career that he was never going to be a good enough kick. We made the point tonight. He just has got a great ability to hit the right moment. Never does anything that's out of his capabilities. That was brilliant under pressure.
Their belief is just growing by the minute in themselves here, the Bombers. 5 consecutive 3rd quarter goals, and this for the 6th. Ryder across the face. I mean, they were confident before this game, given the fact they were 5-1. They're only lost to Collingwood by a point, but the belief in beating a really good side, Richo, right now, I'm not saying Collingwood aren't a good side, they're a very good side, of course, but West Coast have been the form side.
Yeah, no doubt. We know what they did to Carlton, so if you think they don't beat good sides, well, they have. They've beaten the Eagles and Carlton. Well, they're going to beat the Eagles. It'll be pretty tough. We know they're a good side and they could fight back, but they just can't get their hands on the footy at the moment. At least they can settle it down here with a string of possessions, but the way Essendon are playing, it's going to be hard.
With a quarter and 13 minutes, Richo, please don't give it away, because this side, West Coast Eagles, you will be underestimating if you do.
No, I'm not. I just said that. I'm not giving it away. I said the way the Bombers are playing, it's going to take an almighty lift.
West Coast, a rare entry inside 50 in this 3rd quarter. Stanton, Belt Chambers. Look at the chain and the give of handballs. They even give it to Fletcher, who's under pressure. And the old boy at age 37.
He knew he was going to get tackled there, so he just flipped the handball off in front of him and basically milked the free kick, but perfectly done.
Saw his dad, who still coaches at the elite school level, out at a game, Marsland and Assumption yesterday, and absolutely loving what is happening here at the moment with his son, 37, and still playing fantastic footy. Howell around the corner. Monfries takes the big ones. He burns off the young boy in Neats. A hammering kick in favour of Melksham. Crammery gets back. Probably got in the way in the end, Melksham, but he just flew for the ball. And now Gaff.
Loving the work rate of the Bombers midfielders at the moment. We've spoken a lot about the soft tissue injuries that have hampered them at the start of the year. Well, maybe the benefit that I underestimated was the ones that have got through. They've got so much work and so much fitness base that they've got a great confidence, and they're outrunning one of the hardest working midfields in the West Coast Eagles. In fact, they're embarrassing them tonight. They're working so much harder.
So here's Mitch Brown from half-back. Fletcher's got his eyes on this one. Oh boy, Dusty. He's the people's man, Richo. I'm telling you, he's taken over from you.
He's the king of the world at the moment, Dustin, and that's what he does. Intercept marks, and they start their attacks from that man, Dustin Fletcher.
Dyson on the left. Bell-Chambers, look at the Heppel run around the outside. Little left foot around the corner. Not 15, said the umpire. Watson ran into the tackle. Rosa got him. Bell-Chambers fast hands Heppel. What does he do? Standing start, left foot around the corner. Crammery in front. Off hands Watson. Front and centre was magnificent. Got it onto Elwyn Davey. Got caught with the ball. Just took a little too long. Melksham under enormous pressure, the West Coast defence. Here goes Zaharakis. Little right foot along the ground. In the end, bit of a mess up there from the Eagles. Stanton wanting the free. The umpire said no way. And we'll have a ball up.
They're just relentless, Essendon. The second quarter and this quarter, the game has been played almost entirely in their forward half. They're not relenting a little at all.
Jetta, which way do I go, he says. Hocking. Kept the arms free. Hill. Back to Melksham. Good smother by Gaff. Out of bounds on the full in the end.
Thanks, Jake. Cheers. That's the mark.
Still 10 minutes and 42 in the third remaining.
It's going to be hard for Quinton Lynch here. The whole, if you see from that shot there, basically all of the players are squeezed into this quarter of the ground.
Carlisle got a nice little lift. Trying to run away with the ball was Brennan. Jetta bounced off one. Here goes Elwyn Davey. Gathers, left foot, bending, not enough. What a dynamic quarter of football we've seen from the Bombers.
I reckon he should just go use his long leg down the middle.
Finds Selwood. Selwood's got a player out here at the moment. Opportunity for Neats. Neats has to wait for a couple of players to get forward. Shepherd does now. He can run and play on, but he's chosen not to now. He goes long. Hill's got the sit at the back here. And in the end, knocked away over the line.
It's interesting to sit back and watch that kick in. The ball that came to Selwood was fantastic. Got out the centre wing, and he looked up, and the hardest running people going back, Richo, were Essendon defenders. They ran past 3 or 4 Eagles forwards, and he's really standing out tonight. John Worsfold will do the review of this game. He'll go back, and he has to question their work rate, which is something we haven't done with West Coast for a long time. They just simply aren't running hard.
Just joined us. Pritis, as you've seen, as a sub there, is subbed out of the game through, we believe, some sort of concussion issue. Collier yet to be used for the Bombers. Waters in amongst there. Mackenzie as well. Little handball to Hearn. Look at the Bomber numbers back in defence. Hook has been really good back there. Fletcher to the boy. Yes, from Cogen up in Western Australia. Kyle Harding, Ham. And here's Hocking. The modern-day Lingy. What do you see when you look at Hocking, Lingy?
I love the way he goes about it. He knows his limitations. He knows he's there to limit the opposition midfielder, the best opposition midfielder. Does it well, but still gets involved in the attacking side of the game. Love what he's doing.
Good tackle by Carlisle. Neats didn't know Dempsey was there, and he got him absolutely dead. Fletcher to Dyson. Well,
Well, when young Nicks took possession of the ball then, he looked up and he had 3 Essendon defenders in front of him. He had nothing to kick to, and it enabled the Essendon player to run him down from behind.
Gee, that's an incredible kick then from Dyson. Had to get Bell Chambers on the inside of the field. Good knock away by Shepherd. Stanton. Here's Watson and Brown. Look at Watson, the strength to keep his feet. Takes on Cox. Around to Davey. Couldn't pick up the one off the laces. Brown. Waters drawing handball. Shepherd again. Had to be quick. Monfries was all over him. Stanton. Jeddah. Thought about the handball. The kick to Melksham a little too heavy. Melksham controls it though. Does he come back in on the left? Thinks about nothing except trying to get it to a vacant teammate, which he succeeds in Dyson. And Dyson, as easy as you like, bends the ball around the corner. A 55-point Bomber lead here. The fans stand and applaud.
Full house at Etihad Stadium, and they are loving it, the Bomber fans, and so they should. Taking on the undefeated West Coast Eagles, and they have just outrun, outplayed, and outworked the West Coast in every department.
Look at Ricky watching that one home, Richo.
Oh, they're just winning the game in absolutely every area. They're smashing them at the contest, the clearances and contested possession, and then their desire to run and spread is as good as I've seen for a while. It's outstanding at the moment from Essendon.
This quarter, Stanton 9 disposals, Zaharaka 6, Bell-Chambers 6, Watson plenty, this man plenty. Monfries with a low ball to Crameri on the lead. Turn to the oncoming Cox. He's caught in the Lonigan tackle. Such a great competitor, Lonigan. Crameri with the strength. In the end, McKenzie to Darling and Carlisle. Well done, Jakey Carlisle. Ball out wide to Monfries. Corralled by Shuey. Nice little kick to Melksham. Interception here by Darling. Can they make him hurt? Lysette trying to mark it on the chest, but in they come, the ferocious Bombers. Look at the desperation. Carlisle and Hardingham combining there, and they do them hands down. Darling did well. Took a big piece of turf there. Free kick West Coast.
Just haven't been able to find a winner at all in their forward half of the ground. Darling's trying hard this quarter. He's pushed up and intercepted mark and gets this one here, but just haven't had a winner in their forward half at all tonight.
Cox. An aerial view at the task that confronts the modern day player, trying to weave through there.
BT, you hear coaches go on about defensive play and being a great defensive team, creating the attack. It's perfect example of the way Essendon's done it in this quarter. They've been at their absolute defensive best, but they've kicked 6 goals on the back of it.
Absolutely. Shuey, sideways. You must remember that West Coast without a lot of their forward line, but on the other hand, the Bombers, many players missing from their side, so both of these sides are going to get even better. Zaharakis and Waters go at it. Well done, David Zaharakis. Magnificent one-on-one with one of the toughest customers in footy in Waters. Rose to Selwood. Selwood eludes one tackle. Little chip kick is good for a moment.
You called Waters. I'm not sure if he's pushed forward or he just made his way down there, but at least he showed some sort of work rate to try and present an option.
Hearn from 60 launches a big long ball, and I think it might have been over the line. It was, and it'll be a behind.
Right out 5 metres, please.
Might be time for a torpy here, BT.
Well, he kicked a couple of barrels last week at the insistence of the crowd. 2 enormous barrels. It won't be party time until deep in the last quarter for Fletcher if he does that sort of thing, I can assure you. Line and length for him. Dusty. Waters to Cox. Cox to Selwood. And Sold in the middle to Glass. The pressure again forced the turnover. The Heppel handball, not what it should have been. Shepherd did well to get a hand. And now Shuey with a bouncing run. Long ball deep. The back, I think it's Lysette. He did well to recover the ball. Bit of a high one. It's offline.
At least the Eagles have been able to just slow it down a little bit in the last few minutes. A couple of inside 50s in a row. First time for the quarter they've had any sort of control at all.
Essendon also have got a bit of light shade in the way they play too, Richo. If the situation requires it, they can really put the foot down and burst open like when it opens up here, or they're happy to possess it as well.
Hallett to Jetta and Davey. Don't they cause some teams some concern and throwing that man there. Crammery to Davey, as easy as you like, just to the right-hand side. There's no doubt the magic ingredient, and the Bombers have got it here tonight, is just absolute pressure, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're the best kicking team in the comp. They kick the ball more than anyone else. They kick the handball ratio, and that was a good sign of it there. They just waited, they showed patience, and eventually someone opened up in the corridor, and if you can get it in there, that's where you bust the game open.
Good tackle by Dempsey. And I think he adds plenty. Here's Jetta. Now Davey is sneaking into the pocket, and I thought he would have honoured it. Instead he went to Bell Chambers, and in the end he made the right decision.
Brian Taylor, you're absolutely spot on there, mate. You said the pressure was the key ingredient. Dempsey over on the far wing created the turnover, pump it into a dangerous forward line, and they get another shot at goal.
A great play by Bell Chambers. Dean Cox came off the ground. He realised the opportunity and he pushed forward. Quinton Lynch came on and was trying to make up ground, but he had the mismatch inside 50. Great play, Bell Chambers.
And he comes in and he converts the goal. He's first of the game. He'll take a spell.
Yeah, great work from Big Belcho. Love seeing a big, powerful unit push forward and get involved in the scoring part of the game for Ruckman. He gets a nice pat on the back. He played 32 AFL games and just starting to develop very nicely, Tom Bell Chambers. Heath Hocking on screen there has had another fantastic tagging role. Daniel Kerr just restricted to only 14 possessions. I want to get down to Cameron Ling in a second. He's had big jobs week in, week out. Jard Ablett, Black, he's played on Pendlebury as well, Heath Hocking. Does he need a rest at some stage? He's the new version of Cameron Ling. Here he goes again, Heath Hocking. Does he need a break at some stage?
Crammery, both hands on it. What do you think, Lingy?
Hang on, we'll just watch this one, BT. Might end up with another goal to the Bombers.
Yeah, love it. Murray to Melksham got bundled out of the way. Back to you, Lingy.
Yeah, I don't think he needs a rest. I think the way he is, he's a strong player. He's built pretty tough. He just loved the challenge every week of coming up against the best opposition midfielders and doing his job for the team. Once you get on a bit of a roll and you get a bit of confidence with the role you're playing, you prefer to just be out there and play. I'm
talking about, does he need sometimes to have the shackles broken free? Is it too big a challenge, Lingy, to always have the opposition best player in your sights, or is it reversed? Do you just say, hey, that's my job for the team. I want to play on the best midfielder every week?
I think it narrows your focus a bit, Das. I used to love getting the role every week because it narrowed my focus on playing a role for the team and doing it as well as I could, knowing that if I could do a decent job on it, it would help us to win the game.
There's Shuey right in front of where Cameron Ling sits. Hearn, short ball to Lynch. About 70 metres out from the West Coast goal. Time ticking down here in this quarter, minute 52 remain in it. Over the line, out of bounds it goes. Justin Fletcher, the old boy. Going to get a shot of an interesting man very, very shortly. A man called The Weapon. I'll tell you a little bit more about it when we actually see him. If you think they're big and strong, the Bombers, well, you're right. And one man's responsible for that. Very big and strong, even at the expense of a few injuries as a result. James Hurd's happy to wear that.
Is this a man who calls himself The Weapon, answers his own phone weapon?
Calls himself The Weapon, Das. Wait till you see this man. He found a needle in a haystack. That's a tough thing to do, but he did it. Faster than Carl Lewis over 10, they reckon. I'll tell you some more feats of the weapon in a moment. Here's Monfries. Jetta. He's a man of many talents. Was also a rodeo clown at one stage. A stunt driver. Here's Watson. Zaharakis. Wide to Melksham. 1:28 remaining. The kick to Jetta was near on perfect. Jetta goes, how good's this? And he sprays it to the right-hand side. And a minor score.
Well, that's the weapon you speak of there, BT.
There he
He's got the headset on.
Yep.
If he stands up, he's one of the more powerful units you'll ever meet.
So he's the man who's put all of the work into the Bombers over the pre-season.
He's responsible for their strength and conditioning.
Have a look at him.
He made a man from a ground level floor jump to one level up, first floor.
He commands respect. Look at the weapon when he gets over and gets in your ear. You can just see a bit of extra strut, the chest poked out.
Got him that strong in the legs, Richo, and he did find a needle in a haystack, I'm told. Kicks the ball long here. The Bombers under pressure again. His man is the weapon. That's what his phone says when you ring it. Here's Waters. We love him. Gaff tidying up.
Well, I reckon the Bombers fans are loving him because he's got them going pretty well, BT, the weapon.
He's got Zaharakis. He's got Lonergan on his right, who he absolutely loves because he's a hard nut. Yeah. And have a look at this hit here into the ribs of Selwood.
That hurt. He's got up, though.
Watch the weapon. We're going to be keeping a close eye on him over the next few weeks.
Weapon watch.
Not allowed to talk. James Hurd's put a gag on him. Not allowed to talk, the weapon. Selwood out the back door to Kerr.
Well, Lingy knows him because he was down at Geelong for a while.
What's his specialty, Lingy?
Oh, he's a very powerful unit, boys. I've just been having a nice little laugh here listening to you guys. All those stories just bringing back some very good memories of the weapon.
Marston here. So West Coast just in this transition period, 25 seconds remaining in this third quarter. They've been flogged in this third quarter. A 7-goal quarter here from the Bombers. And they have copped an absolute whipping, and there is the weapon. And that's enough on the weapon. We'll come back to him next week, Richo, and tell you more great feats of the weapon.
Weapon watch.
I just think the needle in the haystack is a marvellous effort. Here's Fletcher around the corner with a little ball. Time ticking away here, under 10. 61-point lead. They've turned that in from a 17-point half-time lead. And James Hurd, inside, he'd be absolutely wrapped. Not necessarily at the scoreline. That's an exciting thing for him, but just the attitude and the way which they're playing.
Well, the players have bought into what James Hurd's doing, and when you got everyone on the same page.
Standing ovation, Richo.
Got everyone on the same page at the moment. The Bombers, they believe in James Hurd. When you're playing for your coach and you've got a leader like this man, Joe Watson, they're on the rise, the Bombers.
Have a look at this. They've got their mojo back, BT, doesn't it?
This is a genuine standing ovation, Das, from the crowd here. They have turned a 17-point margin into a 61-point lead, and they're very, very happy.
It's a sea of red and black at Etihad Stadium. This used to be a place where you could never beat Essendon. They're starting to get that same sort of feeling. Look who he goes to. Straight to the weapon, just to touch base with that powerful unit. What a performance by the Bombers. They are in front by 61 points. Great effort at three-quarter time.
Lovett Murray's workload and giving Collier an opportunity to get out there and get some game time.
So Collier on, Lovett Murray off. Priddis off for West Coast and Neats on. Both subs activated here. And certainly the head of Priddis into the ground there, but nothing else the tackler could do, Richard.
There's no sling tackle about that at all. That was just unlucky for Priddis.
Bombers looking for a fast start here in the final quarter again. Look at Howlett's maniac approach on the footy. Lonergan was slung there as well. And the Bombers have come out starting tough here again in this final quarter. Overrunning on his right. I thought he got McKenzie a little high here. Ryder around the corner to the dangerous Davey. Gaff just tidies up. Help from Brennan in the way of a Shepherd there. Hill around the corner to that Nan, and now Gaff just down to defence, presents nicely to Lynch. What do they hope to gain out of this here in the last quarter, Das, do you think?
I think they need to be more competitive, and their work rate needs to improve. John Worsfold at three-quarter time, BT had the binoculars firmly on him, and he had a great spray. Went through some individuals, really composed normally, John Worsfold. I think he's disappointed in their effort and their run. They've got injury concerns, but when your run isn't strong and you haven't turned up and played as hard as you should, that's a pretty disappointing effort.
I reckon he'd just be saying in the last quarter, we want to win the contested footy and the clearances. Once you get your hands on it, see what happens from there. But they just haven't done that all night tonight, and it's something they really pride themselves on. I reckon that's what he'd be disappointed in the most. Minus 22 at contested. It's not like the Eagles.
He's so composed, John Worsfold. You see him there. You very rarely see him animated, but at three-quarter time, it was the full red face, bit of finger pointing, and really asking the question of his undefeated side. They've been outplayed in every part of the game so far.
Yeah, I am.
So Stanton saying to the umpire, "Are you serious?" And the umpire said, "Yes, I am serious."
Yeah, this is why it was around the shoulder, and that has to be a free kick. Luke Shuey, who we know has had some shoulder issues. You can see his right shoulder strapped. It popped out a week or so ago. He struggled tonight, BT.
I think Stanton had a look at the scoreboard, the big screen here, and realised that he had got him high, and he and the umpire had a bit of a giggle about it. And Shuey misses the goal.
I'd say they have really missed Nic Natanui tonight. Just his energy around the stoppages and his second effort starts at ground level. He's a big man. He knocks guys over when he gets back at it, creates a path, and they need him back out there pretty quick.
I love him as a forward too, and they're going to need more Nic Nat as a forward too, BT. Something's caught your attention?
Richo has rated Nic Natanui higher than Polly Farmer. He thinks he's better than Polly Farmer, so that'll upset a few in the West, Richo.
Yeah,
you saw Polly play, did you, Richo?
No, I didn't, but as usual, Brian's put a fair amount of mayonnaise on that story.
You said there should be a statue made of the man, Nic Natanui.
No, I said,
Keep moving around, boys.
I said, Brian, that his ruck work, I couldn't imagine that Polly's ruck work could have been much better. I didn't say he was better than Polly. I obviously didn't see Polly play, but he must have been some sort of ruckman.
He was incredibly good. Selwood got a bit of an accidental kick in the back there and wanted a free for it, but in the end, heard the umpire diving on the football. In the meantime, Selwood, that's the second whack he's got in those in the rib area.
Look at the spread from the Bombers.
Gaff defensively did really well. Love this young guy. Just 24 games, and there's Watson and Stanton combining. They've both had fantastic years. Heppel over there, that's a throw, one-handed attempt at handball, and Watson says, "Give me a spell on the bench, someone." And Monfries comes on and replaces him, and Selwood goes off. Doc Larkins, we're right in front of you. It just looked like he was holding his left arm or shoulder a little there. Come back to you when we get a chance in a moment as Hill goes long and deep, and Waters takes the mark.
Yeah, not a bad move throwing by Waters up forward. He's a terrific mark, and you know that he'll attack everything in the air. That was a good mark. He judged it beautifully. It hasn't worked for them inside 50 tonight, and this man, it's a good move. He can mark the footy as we see there in a contested situation.
Waters comes in, normally pretty steady, and that's a magnificent kick by Bo Waters. So Waters kicks the goal. Selwood, even with that right arm, right shoulder injury, soldiers on and is going to try and stay out there. Tough for Selwoods. Not only that, he goes back into the centre square and says, "I'll try and win the contested ball." So back in the middle of the ground, Selwood under some stress out there. Umpire lets it rip again here. So the Eagles kick their first goal since the 28-minute mark of the second quarter. Stanton out of the middle. High ball. Crammery certainly had hold of class. Let's go down to Doc Larkins. Doc.
Yeah, Selwood came off. They didn't even get to examine him, and they did an interchange, and the doctors have been arguing with the interchange steward because he's gone back on, just creating the whole right arm, right side, Brian.
So what's the argument with the interchange steward about that?
I'm with the interchange West Coast fellow, not the AFL.
Okay, right. So probably saying we've got our full rotation on the bench who are all resting at the moment. Even if you're injured, you can't come off. Unusual thing to say to a man with a sore shoulder.
We might get Doc to keep an eye on Luke Shuey as well, Doc, who's we know got some shoulder problems, but also appears to be hobbling around at the moment.
There's Hill. Howlett feeding it back to Carlisle. Intercepted here now. Chance for the Eagles. Hearn to the run here of Darling, who eventually gathers. No support at all for him to get the ball off. Melksham was tackled by Waters and dispossessed in a beautiful tackle. But it'll go the way. Hanging on after the tackle, said the umpire.
The Eagles have lifted their intensity. They copped a fair spray at three-quarter time, and the effort is there at the start of this last quarter.
There's the sub for the Bombers in Collier. Kick to Crameri, knocked away Lonigan. Over the head, Davey underneath it. Advantage will be paid. Jetta will kick the goal high up into the third stand. And Elwyn Davey gets back to his feet and looks fine. And there is the injured shoulder of Selwood as he comes from the ground as well.
Yeah, that was well done by Elwyn Davey. Only a little man, but put himself in the front position, and Darren Glass coming back with a flight made high contact. But well done, Elwyn Davey. Had to compete there in the air. It's probably not his job normally. Did a good job, drew a free kick, and Jetta, geez, you like those ones. Just a little advantage to run into the open goal square, and he drilled it up into the grandstand.
Another inside 50 Richo created from great run from Brent Stanton. 33 possessions had in the game. He's the leading AFL kick gatherer in the competition. And it's just based on phenomenal work rate, poor bounce that'll be recalled.
Still can't believe they sent Selwood back out there.
Yeah, he wasn't right, and he's now come from the ground, and they can't afford to lose him to injury, and that would mean they've already lost Pritis. They'd be way down on rotations if he can't go back on.
I think I saw the first of the jacket waivers there.
Oh, it's going to come out, isn't it?
A little premature early here in the last quarter.
Richo, you touched on Matty Pritis there. West Coast have really missed him tonight. They've had 84 less possessions than Essendon tonight, and we know how good Matty Pritis is at winning the footy in a contest, bringing other players into the game and actually creating those uncontested possessions for West Coast.
Marston trying to charge out there.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. Nearly 100 in front in disposals and smashed in the contested. It's just been an all-round performance by the Bombers tonight.
Aerial shot there showing all of the players in 1/3 of the ground, basically.
What's wrong, Tom?
The umpire asking Tom Bell-Chambers what's wrong. It's nice of Simon Meredith. You're all right, Tom, he says. Cox. Watson and Bell-Chambers. Crameri, who just knocks up getting to the ball first, doesn't he? Just presents up time and time again. Stewie through some traffic in good fashion. Over the back comes Lysette. Started the day on the bench, so did this man here as the sub, Neats. Waters. Good change of direction from him. Lovely kick as well to Lynch. This is within his capabilities, I would have thought.
This is the kick tonight. They've just struggled after this one to find a target inside forward 50, the Eagles.
Have a look at this. The man on the mark's at 53, Dustin Fletcher. He tucks the mouth guard away and says, look, a 56, 57-metre kick is not a problem for me.
Well, we know he can do it. The big Q-tip.
Great confidence, isn't it? Doesn't de-glove anymore, I've noticed. Very dramatic de-gloving it used to be. Kick on the way, it's just slightly offline and slightly short as well, and hits the behind post in the end.
Selwood just coming back out onto the ground.
Gee, they're tough. Look, he's still carrying that arm, isn't he?
Looks
Shoulder,
winged, doesn't he, as he runs there?
Just really tough players. Too many people watching the game would go back out with a shoulder injury, I wouldn't have thought. Selwood wins the ball as well and goes backwards and finds an opportunity here with Shepherd.
Nearly got every player on the ground inside their forward 50 here. All 18 of the Essendon players inside their defensive 50.
Every one of them, there they are. Just a couple have wandered out now. And Shepherd from beyond 50.
Watching Essendon play tonight, I just feel as though they do the right thing defensively and in the attacking part of the game more often, more of the time. Rich, and even then, you picked it beautifully. They had all their side back in the defensive part of the ground because it was a slow play and they needed to, and it made it impossible for West Coast to score. They're just better organised, they're better disciplined, and they are a real threat this year. They get some good players back next week. Hurley's due to come back. Winderlick, they'll get Prismal back. Gumbleton we haven't seen this year. It's starting to get very, very dangerous side together. Essendon.
Absolutely.
It's wide open, isn't it? Looking at the premiership race.
Well, Sydney being knocked off today by your mob, Richo, the Tigers, and West Coast being looking like they may well go down here. It is more wide open than it was going into this weekend of footy. Now trying to muscle his way through Butler. Marston, 40 metres out, shot at goal, may well get there, Waters, and he does. Will he play on or go back and steady the kick?
Just
I suggest the latter.
Just showing a bit of energy since moving forward late in that third quarter by Waters. It is his 100th game tonight. He's had a crack. At least he's presenting inside forward 50.
Tough kick this one. There's the angle. And a bit of post work there.
West Coast had Adam Hunter play that role where he went forward whenever they needed a bit of spark when they won their premiership a few years ago under John Worsfold. So they're just trying to create a similar sort of role here for Bo Waters.
Have a look at this. Hardingham marked the ball off the bench, and Jeddah, who's come on the wing, Hardingham didn't see him, but he was hiding. He ducked down low so no one could see him, and he was hiding just in front of the interchange area for about 30 seconds. Didn't benefit in the end, but sneaky play from both Hardingham and Jeddah. Melksham keeps it alive. Here goes Davey. Went without it. Kerr. McKenzie. And a fumble from Brennan.
That's his first touch in the last quarter, Daniel Kerr. Hocking's done a great job.
Great athlete, Hardingham. Can jump. Cox pursued by Dempsey. Did well, the big man. Hearn looking for the little wraparound kick back inside. Shepherd to Shuey. Dyson with the tackle. Ball pinned. Now, the umpire will determine he had no prior opportunity here, I think.
Pin straight away.
Seeing the umpire communication. They've done a fantastic job tonight, the umpires. They've paid the ones that have needed to be paid and let the game flow beautifully. And I've liked the way they've spoken to the players, BT.
Yeah, been very nice. By the way, Monday Night Football. Don't forget it, Dars. Carlton playing St Kilda.
And the great news, we're going to be back here Monday night, sitting right in this particular seat, and that will be a big game, Carlton and the Saints. And I like Monday night footy. It's a nice little spot, not every week, but just gives you that extra bit of footy fix, Richo.
You wouldn't do it every week, Das. It's worked overseas, and they do it in the NRL, but the AFL tinkered with it, but never gone permanent.
I think as a one-off or 2 or 3 times a year, they get great crowds. It'll be a really nice turn up here back at Etihad Stadium with 2 good contenders in the Blues and the Saints, but not every week for me.
One of the reasons why we're playing on this Monday night, of course, Mother's Day being tomorrow. That's just one less game on Mother's Day, and I know Andrew Demetriou, the CEO of the AFL, doesn't want to spoil Mother's Day for many of the mums around town. Rich, they don't laugh, it's true. That's one of the reasons they scheduled it on Monday night, is to declutter Mother's Day.
Sure, some mums might like coming to the footy on Mother's Day.
Thank you, that's it.
Okay. You ever bring your mother to the football on Mother's Day?
No, I haven't, actually.
Interesting. There's Lynch.
Hey, what about David Hill, Das? Is he... Tommy Bellchambers is thriving at the moment.
It's a good question you ask. I think, as it sits now, David Hill is going to have to find maybe another role in the side. I think Bellchambers is progressing in his 32nd game to a level that almost commands that spot. I think Ryder, with his flexibility, has to play. So it's a good position they find themselves in. I really rate David Hill when he's up and running, a very good player, but at the moment he's going to have to work hard to get back in.
Shepherd in the back half, so this game come to a bit of a standstill here now with basically half of the quarter over. Hooker with the fist at behind. Carlisle has become an important member of this side as well. Lovely linking handball by Watson to Heppel. Heppel tries to hammer it low and hard. It's got a little bend back, not enough.
Just that great vision from Joe Watson, and the weight of that handball was just perfect. It meant Heppel didn't have to break stride and allowed him to run through 50 and have That shot at goal as he comes off the captain, Joe Watson, 31 possessions, 10 clearances as part of his unbelievable performance tonight.
Towards Shuey. Cox gathers the ground level ball. Desperate on that occasion was Mitch Brown. Shuey surely will get a free here.
Well, looking at the game, the Bombers just took away the strength of the Eagles. Both of these teams like to control play, heaps of kicks and marks, uncontested marks, and they've taken it away from the Eagles tonight. They haven't been able to control tempo or possession at any stage, and it's been just a great effort from the Bombers right from the start.
Pass to Rosa. Gee, the players are looking very tired now. Hooker, Dempsey, over the top of the ball. Lonigan always smashing in. Handball comes out. An opportunity here for Brennan. Lines up the goal. And has he kicked his first ever goal in football? I think he might have, the young man. So Brennan kicks his first goal in footy. And he'd be excited about that. And they get another one here in the last quarter. The West Coast Eagles to get within 55 points in front of 43,260 people here today.
This is a good moment, Brennan. First goal in AFL footy, you remember that one? Remember your first goal, BT?
No, I can't, Richo. Kicked a few of them, but
normally you remember your first goal.
Probably only kicked one first goal, come to think of it.
Yeah, well, you should remember it.
Right up.
Sure, Brennan will.
Well, I asked the same question of you, Richo.
Yeah, I can remember.
Good on you. Marston down the edge of the square. Good run. High ball on the head of the big fella Lysette. Knocked down a hill. He dribbles the goal through. And they've got 3 last quarter goals, the Eagles. So got it back to 49 points here now, with just under 7 minutes remaining. Stranger things have happened, Das. I know I'm the optimist. But a 49-point margin.
And nothing strange. That strange has ever happened, Brian, but I love your optimism. You know it's not your night. Josh Hill kicks a nice goal as he runs past. Have a look at this. Oh. A West Coast flag in the eye.
Oh, there we go,
it just hasn't gone their way tonight. Josh Hill can't believe it.
It's got a tweet here, and it's a good point. Kennedy LaCroix, Nic Nat, Embley, Nikoski. Take 5 stars out of any team and see if you're 6-1. Yeah. A good effort to be 6-1.
It's an absolutely fantastic point, and that's what I said before this game, that you get too many injuries to those sort of players and you start to run a little thin, and it'll hurt any side in the competition. It's hurt Collingwood early this year, although the Bombers are still up and running, aren't they, with a few injuries?
Well, we mentioned them as well earlier. Michael Hurley, to me, is their absolutely most important player. He's not out there. Big hit there applied. Leroy Jetta, but stood his ground superbly. Windlick comes back in. He's in their best 18 for mine. David Hill trying to find his way back in the side as well. So the injuries will be a big factor, as they are every year.
Dempsey hoists one very high into the goal square. Cramry is there, getting back to take the mark, though. Brent Stanton does the job very nicely in the end.
There's Michael Hurley. He's got his father alongside him, and he's got a big smile on his face. Available next week, we believe, which, what a bonus that is, firing him back in to this lineup.
Absolutely.
Brent Stanton's up to 34 now. His fitness and work rate just keeps going right to the end.
So Stanton gets another here, his second goal of the night. And the Bombers back out by 55 points. Good crowd here tonight, 43,260. The young kid, he wants to get the jacket waving going. He's only got a scarf, not big enough to own a jacket yet. And he's trying to wind up the Bomber supporters to follow suit. They stand and applaud. Back in the middle, Bell Chambers knocked down, intercepted there by Shuey, got one high.
Advantage play.
Umpire says advantage. Here goes Marston, a low hammering ball up towards Waters. Magnificent mark. You know the man, the boy from Coaching-up, Kyle Hardingham. Got a dad called Toot. He's a bus builder. Over the line and out of bounds. We'll throw it in again.
Gee, it's great. If you've got half-backs that can win the ball back in the air like that in a contested situation, that just sets up your rebound from half-back. And
There he is.
Hardingham's becoming one of the best intercept players in the competition. He's been fantastic.
Very athletic. Lonigan out the back. Little kick in front of Paddy Ryder. Gathers, could peel it off to Collier. Collier wants to straighten. Handball back into Zaharakis. He wheels around on the right, and in the end they overdid the finesse work on that occasion. The Bombers. Neitz tries to work through traffic. Stanton. Dyson on the left into Cramery. Over the top, tidied up here by Shepherd. In the back half for the Eagles. Hill's got to work it, and he does. Just under 5 minutes remaining.
Just got great hands, hasn't he, Josh Hill?
Very soft hands in a way that he sort of...
Just sort of caresses into his hands, doesn't it?
Yeah. He hasn't got the iron gloves, that is for sure. Kick forward here. Jake Carlisle. You talk about Hurley. I wonder who misses, what sort of player misses out for Hurley to come back into this Bomber line. Is it a Jake Carlisle? Or do they...
That's where they get themselves in great shape, isn't it, Essendon? When you start having pressure for spots, there's no one that stands out tonight that you say aren't carrying their weight for Essendon.
There's the old man. Fletcher to Davey. Davey just in pressing right in front of the bench there, and Melksham will receive free kick for a knock of the arms.
I think that's the exciting thing, right? Look across the Essendon list, in particular the 22 that have turned up tonight. Every player, I feel, are improving their game at some level. You go through the defensive part of the ground. Carlisle, you mentioned, is maybe someone out of the side. I reckon he's improved his game by 20%. This man's improving so much more consistent now, Paddy Ryder. You can go through the whole list and see just getting more consistent performances, harder effort, and the competition for spots as they get their injured players back will be a great bonus for them.
But there's only one player out on the ground for the Bombers in Jeddah who hasn't had double digits possessions. Collier's only had the 2, but he was the sub. Jeddah's had 8, kicked 2 goals, but that's just a great spread, you know, across the list there. Everyone's done their job.
Ryder for his 3rd goal here. Kick at about 50 metres. Kick is online. It'll drift a little left to right in its last moments, but not enough.
You boys are talking about spots in the Essendon team. We were mic'd up with Mark Thompson, of course, before the game. We spoke about getting their injured players back in there. Essendon are now in a position where they can really manage their list. They can rest players who've had a big workload, slowly bring back their injured players, give them good quality game time, and then they're set going into later on in the year with a really fresh list.
Shepherd to Marston. He wants to take it all the way, and he misses to the left, Darcy. I know we had a tweet there asking, can the Eagles still make the top 4 with half a team? Look, they'll get Kennedy back in 10 to 12 weeks probably, and perhaps Nikoski back soon as well.
Nikoski should get back. Embley, Nic Nat comes back obviously next week, hopefully.
And with this start, 6-1 after 7 rounds, with the amount of home games they played back in Western Australia, they just don't get beaten there side of this quality too often. So they're going to be pretty hard to dislodge from the top 4, despite the disappointing effort tonight.
Just to put Essendon's performance tonight into context, before tonight, West Coast had only lost 3 quarters for the whole season, and they've been totally outplayed tonight.
They have. The next 2 games are at home at Patterson Stadium. One of those against the Dockers, of course, in the Derby.
Bit of scarf waving just starting to go right round Etihad Stadium.
The other being St Kilda, but they are starting to just wave around the heads, and it's sort of self-propelling, this waving around the head once one does, and it's absolutely lighting up here at the moment at Etihad Stadium. And the scarves and the jackets are out big time as the Bombers are absolutely loving their work here at the moment.
I think Kevin Sheedy with GWS Giants winning today would be even happy to get involved in this scarf waving. A lot of happy people around.
Absolutely. Long memories, a lot of these supporters, haven't they?
It was 1993, the famous scarf wave from Kevin Sheedy. They had a great rivalry going there.
The cut of the throat there as well, and the hug of Hurd after he kicked the goal. And here's Elwyn. He thought about playing on and he said, I'm just too damn tired.
Their transition from their half-back line, I've seen a few games this year, but this is just about as good as I've seen. The spread and transition play that they have, the Bombers, it's pretty positive going forward.
Sets up a classic contest next Saturday night against Richmond in the Dreamtime game, doesn't it? Yeah. The MCG could possibly be over 80,000 there for that, Richard.
Particularly with the Tigers having a big win over Sydney in the twilight game today.
Davey comes in and drills the goal, and that'll certainly get them waving. Here they go.
Smiles all around here. The Bombers fans have turned out big numbers, 43,260. Red and black everywhere. They have got their mojo back big time. Made a lot of changes right across the board. Coaching staff, some player changes. They're in great shape.
I just had a funny tweet there, BT.
Yes, what do you have, Richard?
BT can't remember his first goal. Maybe ask Doctor Who to borrow the TARDIS to find out.
Oh, very funny, Richard.
I enjoyed that one. Timothy Hargraves sent me through that one.
Nice work, Tim. Smarty pants. Bell Chambers moves it forward. Melksham's in there, fast hands. Jeddah. Howell, it'll be run down by Gaff, but this man won't be. Elwyn Davies steps to the line and goes bang! It sends the fans into an absolute Bomber frenzy. They've gone sick as a result of this one, as they stand and applaud and wave and jiggle. Oh boy, wowee, look at the Bomber fans.
Have a look at this, great scenes here at Etihad Stadium. 43,260 in the house for a show. And they are loving life at the moment, the Bombers.
They're loving it. Elwyn Davey, he's been terrific tonight. 3 goals as a small forward. He's done his job. He'll be looking forward to next Saturday night, BT. Elwyn Davey, Dreamtime at the G.
Oh, you can just hear them chanting next week. Richmond, Richmond. They want them, don't they?
Yeah. It's going to be a ripping game, though, now. Both teams having good wins today.
Absolutely. Bell Chambers. And what a start for the Bombers. They are going to be 6-1. They're only lost by 1 point to Collingwood. They've got Richmond in the Dreamtime game. Then they've got GWS and Melbourne after that. Absolutely fantastic. A responding goal there. And James Hurd, as the Eagles get one back, comes down with the applause of the Bomber faithful.
There's a lot what Bo Waters was able to do there.
Yeah.
Big goal from 50 on the run, and it's a role I think he can play. Listen to the fans as Hurdy enters the arena, and they go berserk. The golden-haired boy has returned, and they love him more than just about anyone in the history of this great club.
He doesn't get much wrong, Hurdy, does he?
Have a look at him, just the stroll along the boundary, just absorbing a little bit of love.
Just a touch of swagger there too. And why wouldn't you when you've been able to do it? That man has been able to achieve it.
I reckon he might go to the weapon. There's every chance he'll go up to the weapon and say, you've made these guys so strong. There's the weapon on the right-hand side, just peeking through there. He's a man, and we're going to keep a weapon watch on him, but found a needle in a haystack, faster than Carl Lewis, and he's responsible for the strength in the legs of these Essendon players. Siren sounds, Bombers unbelievable.